Others achieve greatness by their acquaintances. And Karsh and I are much more than acquaintances. I sat behind him in Physics 30 all year. We even worked together on some lab reports, which means I influenced his marks.
Are you trying to say?
Yes, I am the reason that Karsh is this year's Valedictorian.
Good evening, honored guests, parents and grandparents, teachers and staff, and fellow graduates. I'm honored to represent the Strathcona class of 2014. But before I get to the speech where I try and get you all teary-eyed, I'll introduce myself personally because chances are you've never seen me before since I only came to this school a year and a half ago. I'm Karsh, and I'm going to stand at this podium and say things I'm hoping you'll remember. Our year's motto is, our legacy is timeless. So, for a closer look at our legacy, let's take a look back at what we've experienced so far. Elementary school, let's think. Coolest kid has a 64 pack of Crayola crayons. Girls have cooties and boys are unsophisticated. Success is defined by how good your Pokemon cards are. On to junior high. Your body's changing and it's really weird. Girls are really tall and boys smell awful. Success is talking to a girl without your voice cracking. Now, let's think about high school. The awkward phase is finally over. For the first time, you were given choices. Not that many choices, though. No. Although you can choose electives, select sports to play, and join whatever club you like, you still have to sit through several English essays. For the parents that may have forgotten what that was like, they were along the lines of this. First, we'd get a story. For example, Jack and Jill went up the hill, you know the rest. We'd be given a few weeks to read it, more than enough time. So, the night before our essay, we quickly went on SparkNotes to figure out what the book was about. Now, as the teacher walks down the rows of desks and hands you your prompt, the hard part begins. Write a well-organized essay in which you analyze the psychological consequences of fetching the pail of water. And, graduates, as hard as that may have seemed, you persevered. Not only did you figure out Newton's laws and the parts of a cell, but you grew as a person and developed meaningful relationships. You are a lord, and, as one who serves, you make the world a better place. Just this year, we had the privilege to participate in a global initiative in which we raised over $170,000 to fund Bikes for Africa. Not only for ourselves, but for others, and that's the beauty of it all. Your legacy thrives by the impact you have on others. You may leave high school with no plans at all. You may leave it with unwavering confidence that you'll become a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer. Or you may take the next year to work or travel, immersing yourself in the fast-paced world as soon as you close the doors of Strathcona behind you. But no matter what you choose, I hope you strive to learn, be forever curious, and, even if the world shows adversity and doubt, continue to pursue the strongest version of yourself. The more you learn, the more valuable you are to those around you, and the more your story is worth reading. I'll take this moment to present a quotation from one of history's first and foremost philosophers and intellectuals. I was never really good at anything, except for the ability to learn. No, it's not Aristotle or even Einstein. That quote comes from Kanye West. For those who aren't familiar with him, he is a hip-hop artist so convinced of his genius that he has drawn tons of ridicule for the past few years. My stumbling upon this message taught me that one can find inspiration from some of the most unexpected places. Yes, Kanye is very wealthy. He has lots of cash, cars, and a Kardashian. And despite what others say about him, he's also happy and recognizes the learning needed to create a good story. You may spend countless years studying for an almost unattainable degree in the hopes of getting a lucrative job, but notice that sometime in that future, you aren't happy. You aren't happy because although you are rich, you lack richness. You lack richness because despite all those years you spent learning, no one cares to read your story. You may have lived a life with stability but without spontaneity, with results but without fulfillment, with education but without true learning. Your legacy may have ended up like a social textbook. As people read the social textbook of your life, they will definitely learn something new and gain new insight, but as soon as they put it down, they will breathe a sigh of relief because they didn't really want to read it in the first place. There are so many textbooks just like it. Another textbook can teach you the exact same thing, but do it better. So learn not only for a desirable future, but learn in a way that the history you leave behind is one worth retelling for decades to come. It doesn't have to be a book like Game of Thrones or Great Gatsby, but please, for the sake of your community, produce something better than Twilight. This year, our school suffered the loss of Mrs. Harris. Although I did not personally know her and never had the privilege to be her student, it was clear on the faces of the students and staff around me that Mrs. Harris had written a story worth reading. There was a void left by her passing, a strange emptiness as we considered how someone who played such a magnificent role in education could never again give us a reassuring smile. Her legacy is so powerful that the moment she lifted her pen from the paper on which she wrote her story, our home was left in shock. She didn't have to make millions or climb Everest for us to acknowledge her legacy. Just by coming in every day at the school at which she taught and living for her students and colleagues did she fill her life with beautiful memories. Memories that those who were touched by her meaningful life can carry around like a precious secret. And when others read that secret, they are sure to find something enlightening and meaningful that will help guide them as they write their very own story. Now, I have a task for you. Think of some of your most fond memories. For the parents in this room, perhaps you're remembering the time you held your baby graduate of 2014 in your arms for the very first time. For the teachers, the first time you explained something really well and you saw a kid's face light up and you were like, wow, I'm really good at teaching. And for my fellow classmates, maybe it's the memory of that A-slip dance in that outdoor tent, which was so loud that the police got complaints. Or maybe that Halloween costume competition where our math teachers struggled to arrange their Tetris bodies into a geometric shape. Or maybe that bike-a-thon talent show where our classmates, no, our family sang, danced, and spit water into each other's mouths and our hearts as they etched an everlasting memory into our stories. But what makes these memories so unfading? Because, to us, these moments last in eternity. So clear that we can close our eyes and relive them right now. The key to timelessness is not to live forever, because although our lives will inevitably come to an end, these little eternities that we cherish will give us the ability to rewind fleeting time. The marks we leave upon one another and the world continue to last until the last time someone ever says our name. So live, by cherishing all that makes you happy, love with all your heart, learn and prosper to your full potential. The more compelling and enchanting story your legacy tells, the more decades, perhaps centuries, and maybe even millennia will your story be reopened to charm whoever seeks to unravel it. So, congratulations, Strathcona's graduating class of 2014. For today, the world hands you the pen, and as you hold it, whether with uncertainty or tenacity, patience or excitement, it hovers over the unwritten pages of your life, waiting for your next move. And may every chapter be better than the last. Thank you.